Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. We're here to discuss episode 4 of Skeleton Crew, Can't Remember No at Atten. Fun name, but did the episode live up? This was certainly my least favorite episode of the season by a good mile. I don't know if that is the general consensus, and honestly, I don't really care. That's the nice thing about this show. We're at the point where I think everyone who's watching it pretty much likes it. It's not attracting the vitriol or probably the passion of something like The Acolyte, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that it's a relatively low stakes, at least on a galactic scale, adventure. That's why my issue with this episode wasn't really the fact that it didn't move the plot forward, because I actually think it did. We'll get to that in a minute, but this episode just felt like a bit of a mess to me, a bit directionless. Everything from the visuals to some of the decisions just felt a bit muddled. So I like the idea of the Old Republic establishing these jewels of the Old Republic. I'm not sure why they're hiding them. It almost looks like they're using orbital night cloaks to do so, but clearly there's some purpose there, and I actually quite like the naming. It reminds me of the use of Ord as a prefix, which meant that the planet was a regional depot for the Republic, or Uin as a suffix. There are so many Uin planets. I did a video like 6 years ago and speculated that it could be a Republic designator for planets in the Outer Rim which meet certain criteria. So I like that idea, and I like the Fallout-esque vibes that this continues to add to the show, but the execution was off. I mean, they land on the planet, they instantly encounter a group of kids, and just visually, there's no identity. They meet the group leaders. It doesn't really look like Star Wars, but it also doesn't look like anything with its own visual purpose. Like I said earlier, it just seemed like noise. And when the similarities are there, I'm not sure whether they make sense. I saw, for example, an Imperial Army helmet, like the kind we see in Solo. I guess this planet's been introduced to the wider galaxy. It's no longer as hidden, but it just also felt like things were moving at a breakneck pace. The kids are introduced, we get the carrot of, I'll help you find the planet, and instantly they're like thrown into a battle which doesn't really exist. As this is happening, Jod, he's arguing with the droid. I did enjoy that part, and then he's captured, and we don't even see what happens. It just feels like they were trying to rush through the episode, and it was a series of things happening rather than a story which made a whole lot of sense to me, and part of that's probably due to the runtime, and part of that is probably due to the decision to focus more on the character of Neil, which, I mean, we all love Neil. Him falling in love with a French revolutionary girl is a pretty neat storyline, but there should have been a way to do that and have the episode still make sense, and that's kind of what I felt while watching this. Like, it doesn't make sense. I can follow the plot, but just the way it's all put together is so weird in a way that's almost hard to articulate. So yeah, I don't want to belabor the point too much, but plot-wise, this episode definitely did not work for me, but it certainly wasn't all bad either. The characters remain great. You know, it's kind of the opposite problem I had with The Acolyte, where I could never get a feeling for the characters. I didn't care about their motivations or their relationships with each other, but the plot was kind of moving in an interesting direction. This episode was carried by its characters, and the plot was whatever. I like not only the development of Neil as a brave character, but also Jod as a figure who genuinely cares about the children. Especially at the end when they're embracing, you can tell that something is changing between them. And that's why I'm generally not overly critical of what some people describe as filler episodes in shows like this or in shows like The Mandalorian. You need these adventures, you need the time between characters where they're simply doing something to develop relationships and to have that all mean something when the stakes actually are high. Plus, I mean, it's always nice to see Eopes again. In terms of what we learn moving forward, well, the droid has the secrets to the way home, and we're going to learn more about why the ship was there initially. The secrets are all on at Atten. The planet's a mirror to what we see in this episode. We know that the government and administration is hiding things. The Republic, too, as evidenced by the orbital night cloak style system, which is hiding all of the treasure worlds. We also know the planets had guns. We got a peek of one in this episode. You're probably familiar with Chekhov's gun. If a film shows you a gun, expect to see it used. Well, we saw a very large one in this episode. I'll expect to see it used at some point, maybe even against the citizens of the planet itself. But yeah, I didn't enjoy this one, but that's also kind kind of part of the course for even very good shows within Star Wars. In The Mandalorian Season 1, we had the Fennec Shand introduction episode and also the prison ship episode. Both introduced characters and ideas and relationships which would be important to the series moving forward, but I didn't really enjoy watching them. Same with Mando Season 2. There was the Ice Spider episode. That was a snore fest. But honestly, I don't have a whole lot else I want to say about that episode, so I'll see you guys next time, and I suspect the episode 5 review will be a little bit longer.